Hello everyone, a Dvar Torah for you to take with you the Shabbos. If you think about it, there are really four categories of actions. The first, if the Torah requires you to do something, gives you a commandment, a tzivui, and you fulfill that mitzvah, so it's clear you receive reward for doing the mitzvah. Now, if the Torah says you cannot do something, and you follow suit, meaning you refrain from doing that thing which is prohibited, so our sages say, one who refrains from violating a prohibition receives reward like someone who does a mitzvah. Okay, so first two categories, actively doing a mitzvah and refraining from a prohibition, both of those things you get a reward for. This is pretty standard. Okay. Now, our sages say something else. When a person volunteers to do something, to do a mitzvah, even though he's not obligated, he also receives reward. So, for example, if a woman takes a lulav and an esrog and she shakes it on Sukkot, even though she's not obligated to, but if she volunteers and does the mitzvah anyway, she also receives reward. And here our sages discuss and debate who's greater, the one who volunteers or the one who does it because it's obligated. So that's category number 3, somebody who does an active mitzvah which he is not obligated to do. So first 3 categories all receive reward. What about the 4th category? What about if there's something that you're not prohibited to do and you refrain from doing it? Do you receive any reward? So the Maharal says, no, you don't. In other words, a mitzvah that you're actively commanded to do, there's something to do, there's something to be accomplished. So even though you're not obligated to do it, but there's still what to do. And if you volunteer to do it and you accomplish and you do something active, so then you get a reward. You volunteered and you did something, you accomplished something. But if you're not prohibited to do something, you can do it, and you don't do anything, you don't do it, so then you didn't do anything. So you don't get reward for such a thing. This is what the Maharal writes. However, there's a Tosos in Bava Metzia which sounds contrary to this. This week's Torah portion talks about the prohibition of lending money to another Jew with interest. So you're not allowed, when you lend money to another Jew, you can't charge interest for the loan. So the Tosos writes like this, that in the Sefer Yecheskel, in the book of Yecheskel, Hashem takes Yecheskel to a field, and he shows Yecheskel there are dried bones in this field. And he says, Yecheskel, we're going to bring these bones back to life. And sure enough, they have a mini resurrection of the dead, and those people who had been passed away for a long time, those dried bones, like super dry, very old, they came back to life. So there's a couple of opinions in our sages exactly who were these people and why are they coming back to life right now. So Tosfos quotes a midrash that says that these bones were the members of Shevet Ephraim, the children of Ephraim, in Egypt, who tried to escape early. They thought the time had come, that the time was right for us to leave Egypt. They made a run for it, and they were killed on their way out. That's why their bones were in the middle of the field, because they were killed in war as they were running out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt. So why are they being resurrected now? What merit did they have to be resurrected? So Tosfos writes in the name of the Medrash that for the reward that they had for when they lent money to their brothers in Egypt, and they lent it without interest, for that reward they merited to be resurrected. So it seems clear from this Tosfos that even though we're discussing people who lived before the giving of the Torah, and before the giving of the Torah there was no prohibition to lend without ribis, or to lend with ribis. There was no prohibition to lend with ribis, to lend with interest. And still, even though they stopped, they did not violate something they were not prohibited to do, they still received a reward. So this Tosfos seems to indicate you can get reward from stopping, from not doing something you are not prohibited to do. Now, I think we would all agree that for a Jew, a regular Jew, a Yisrael or a Levi, not to enter a cemetery because a Kohen can't go in, so there's a prohibition that I'm not prohibited to do, so I won't do it and I'll get a reward. I think we would all instinctively know that that would not be true. A regular Yisrael or a Levi would not get a reward for avoiding going to a cemetery. So it seems like there would have to be some some division, some explanation, there are certain category of prohibitions that you would get a reward for abstaining from, even though you're not prohibited from them, and other categories of prohibitions that you would not get a reward for it, even if you would abstain from doing them. Presumably, the answer is that ones that have a natural understanding to them, such as not charging with ribbits, which is a sensitivity everyone can understand. For a prohibition like that, you would get reward, but for something which is just related to the holiness of a Kohen, for that there would be no reward. So food for thought. Have a great Shabbos.